Hi, my name is Chris. Thank you so much for joining me today for this yoga flow. As we always are reminded, this practice is for you. Listen to your body, take the movement that your body's asking for, and remember that yoga means union. And in this case, it's the union of movement and breath. And as long as you're moving and as long as you're breathing, you're doing yoga and serving yourself, not only in your body, but your mind and spirit as well. Let's go ahead and get right to it. We'll start in child's pose. For child's pose, you'll come onto all fours in tabletop. You'll bring your knees nice and wide. Toes will come to touch. Hips settle back over your heels. Hands extend out in front of you onto the mat. And if it's available to you, forehead rests. And here we just find our breath and begin to settle in. Filling all the way up through our nose. Sealing our lips and exhaling all the way out through our nose. Let your focus turn completely onto your mat. Let the rest of the world fall away. And breathe in those things right now that are serving you, filling you up, making you feel good. Two more breaths here. And then gently begin to walk your hands back towards your knees so that you can use the strength in your arms to lift your chest up off your thighs. Return to a tabletop position, being thoughtful about stacking of joints. So hips are over knees, shoulders are over wrists, shoulders over elbows, over wrists, We'll start moving into bird dog pose. Start by sending your right toes out behind you. Let them come down onto the mat. And then if it feels good, just pulse, warming up the back of that right leg. And then keeping that alignment with those toes pointing down, lift your right leg up off the mat. You're going to keep your hip as it is, so we're not going to let it swing out to the side. We're going to keep everything in center. And then if it's available and feels comfortable for you, you can lift your left hand up off the mat, left thumb faces up. Your navel's into your spine to assist you in feeling solid and comfortable here. And again, we're actively turning those right toes down to the earth. One more breath here. And then when your complete left hand, right knee returns back down to the earth, check that alignment in your joints yet again. And this time, left toes come out behind you. They hook on the mat. And then if it feels good, just gently pulsing through your heel, feeling the back of that left leg start to warm up. And then keeping your alignment as it is with toes pointing down and hips squared to the mat, bring the left toes up off the mat. Pull your navel into your spine for stability and let your right hand join in the movement if you would like. Reaching through your fingers, reaching through your back heel, feeling length through your spine. We'll find two more breaths here. And then gently release. Start to move your hips from side to side. If it's available to you, you can draw big circles with your hips. We'll just make sure to get even to both sides. So if you go clockwise a few times, then go ahead and switch and find counterclockwise. And then let's come back to neutral. Drop your belly, let your tailbone and head tilt up for cow. Exhale, round through your back, drop your tailbone and head for cat. And then a few more just like that with your own breath. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And again, inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Returning to a neutral spine, send your fingers off the edge of your mat pointing out. We'll just spill our weight from side to side. Starting to warm up those wrists. They're going to work nice and hard for us today. And then allow your fingers to come back to point towards your knees or anywhere in between. So you're going to listen to your body. If this is where your body needs to be, stay there. If you can come a little bit around, great. If not, bring your fingers back to your toes. Shift forward, shift back, left and right if it feels good, or just stay still if that's stretch enough. One more breath here. And then go ahead and flip your palms so that the tops of your hands meet the mat and your palms face up. Fingers are still pointing towards your knees, or if you didn't join me in that, you can leave your fingers pointing to the front of your mat. Doesn't matter, either one. And then gently again, any movement that calls to you, or stillness, you decide. And then when you're ready, release. Move your hands out in front of you. Now we're going to be really focusing on this part of our hand. So if you think about the drawing down through your index finger, up through your thumb, and the meaty part right there, that's where we really want to focus the gripping of our mat. And then the rest of our hand will join as well. So hands connect with the earth, index fingers pointing directly to the top of your mat. Grip the mat with that finger and thumb and that pad of your thumb as well. Tuck your toes, find plank pose. And then adjust. You want to be high up on your heels. You want your shoulders over your wrists. And this is the ideal alignment for down dog. So let's try that on for size. Lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Push the mat away. Hands are at least shoulder width apart, maybe even closer to the edge of your mat. And then draw your chest back towards your thighs as you allow your heels to sink gently towards the earth. They don't need to touch the earth. Big yoga myth. Softness in your knees benefits you. And then gaze to the center of your mat to bring your ears in line with your biceps. Breathe in. And breathe out. Focus on lengthening your spine on the inhale. And staying there for the exhale. And then if you'd like, go ahead and drop your right heel as your left knee bends. And then we'll switch and drop our left heel as our right knee bends, and then just keep moving. We call that walking out our dog. And then when you're ready, inhale high up on your toes. Exhale, heels sink down towards the earth. Inhale high, back up on your toes. Heels sink towards the earth. Next inhale, draw your head, look at your thumbs. Pull your navel into your spine, really get your core engaged to make your feet as light as possible. And we're going to walk our feet up to meet our hands. Softness here in our knees because we're looking to bend from our hip creases rather than kind of hanging from our back, if that makes sense in your body. So find that length through your spine, find softness in your knees, drape your chest over your thighs. And then we'll take ragdoll here if you'd like. Hands sweep up and grab onto opposite elbows. Biceps, again, go around your ears. If it feels good, you're welcome to sway. Straighten your legs and bend them. Take whatever movement you need. You've got 2 more breaths here. Go ahead and fill up. As you empty, let your hands reach down towards the earth. And then your next inhale, hands travel up and wide and bring you all the way up to standing. Root down through all 4 corners of both feet. They're hip width apart. You're going to take your inner ankles, gently rotate them back. Expand outwards through your shins while your inner thighs pull inward. Lots of pushes and pulls, but really just looking to zip up and find engagement here. Length through your side body, hands over your shoulders, shoulders back. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. Ribs knit together, pelvis tilts up slightly towards your ribs. You are connected, extended mountain. Breathe in again. And empty. 1 more. Let's take some lateral movement here. Use your right hand to catch your left wrist. Keep yourself facing the front of your space so your shoulders are going to be stacked rather than letting your top shoulder collapse in. And we'll take a lateral movement to the right. 1 more breath here. And then we Inhale back up through standing and just gently switch. Left hand catches right wrist. Bend over to the left. Still breathing. One more time each side. Inhale up over to the right. And inhale back through center and over to the left. Join me again in extended mountain. Fingers reach towards the ceiling, skin to muscle to bone. Everything engaged. Fill all the way up. And empty. On your next inhale, your heart can lift if you'd like. Exhale, release down to a forward fold. Half lift, hands track up the front of your shins, flat back, shoulders engage, gaze is slightly down and in front of you. Track the crown of your head forward, your tailbone back. Breathe all the way in. Exhale, release down to the forward fold. Let's inhale, rise again, all the way up to extended mountain. Exhale, find your forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Hands meet the earth. Step back with your right foot to plank pose. Left foot comes back to meet it. This first time around, we're all going to bring our knees to the earth. And we're looking to keep our core engaged here. So no sagging bellies or no sending your hips back. We want to stay engaged here. Look over the top of your mat. Keep your ribs tight to your elbows and slowly lower down. All 10 toenails connect with the earth. Strengthen your arms and strengthen your back. Helps your chest slip up off the mat. Some of us will stay nice and low, like right here. Some of us may have accessibility to come up higher. Breathe in. Exhale, release back down to your mat. Inhale back up. This is called cobra. Let your gaze move over your right shoulder, stretching out the left side of your neck. Let your gaze travel back through center and over to the left, over your left shoulder, stretching the right side of your neck. Return back to center. Gently release down to the earth. Tuck your toes. Push up to plank pose. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Find breath here. And empty. Fill up. And empty. We're going to find our way to the top of our mat in a forward fold, and we do that by gazing to our thumbs. You can take tiny steps, you can take a big step, or you can jump or hop. You find your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, find that half lift. Soften, release, forward fold. Inhale, rise, extended mountain. Exhale, fold. We'll move with breath here again. Inhale, half lift. Hands meet the earth, step back to plank. Most of us will bring your knees down. If you'd like to do full chaturanga, feel free. Slowly lower all the way down to the earth. Inhale up to cobra or upward facing dog. The difference between cobra and upward facing dog is in upward facing dog, your thighs come up off the mat. In cobra, they remain where they are. And then shift your hips back, untuck your toes, downward facing dog. Here we breathe, fill up. And empty, fill up, and empty. Next inhale again brings your gaze to your thumbs. Big step, tiny steps, or hop, top of your mat. Find the half lift. Soften, forward fold. Inhale, rise, extended mountain. Exhale, fold. One more sun salutation A, which is what we've been doing. Half lift, shoulders engage. Hands meet the earth, step back to plank. The lowering down is called chaturanga. Lower down. Elbows stay tight to ribs. No chicken wings. Core stays engaged. Inhale, heart up for upward facing dog or cobra. Tuck your toes, send your hips back. Downward facing dog. One more breath. And empty. Fill up and empty. Moving into sun salutation B, gaze to your thumbs, top of your mat. Inhale, half lift. Soften down to the forward fold. And while you're there, bring your big toes to touch and leave some space between your heels, kind of like there's a slice of pizza between your feet. Sink your hips down nice and low, and then sweep your fingers up towards the sky. We're looking to engage through our core. We want our tailbone to point directly down to the mat behind us. Option for hands to come by biceps by ears, cactus arms, or they can come out straight in front of you, whatever serves you. Breathe in, pull your shoulder blades to lift through your heart and see what's available to sink. Weights in your heels. Heart engages, hips sink, one more. And when you're complete, release down to the forward fold. We'll inhale and find our half lift. Hands connect to the earth, step back to plank pose. This is that flow that we're getting used to. Lower down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. Breath in, breath out. Now, we're going to work to pick up our right foot, draw our right knee into our chest as tight as we can, arch through your back to give yourself space. Set your right foot down by your right thumb. If that's not accessible to you, use your right hand to help you step through, or just come to the top of your mat and step back with your left leg. Left foot comes down at a 45-degree angle. Inhale up, low in that front knee. Warrior one. So we're stacking our shoulders over our hips. We're low in our front knee. Right knee's opening towards your right pinky toe. Left back edge of your foot sealing down to the earth. Breathe in and sink. Breathe in and sink. One more. Heart lifts. Hands meet the earth. Turn your left heel up towards the ceiling. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Lower down. Up dog or cobra. Down dog. Find breath here. Fill up. And empty. Fill up. And empty. Left foot steps. Warrior one. So that left foot comes down by your left thumb. You can help it come along or step to the top of your mat and just step your right foot back instead. Square your shoulders to the front of your space. Shoulders are over hips. Left knee opens towards left pinky toe, and the blade edge, that back edge of your right foot, seals down to the earth. Breathe in and sink. Breathe in and sink. One more. Heart lifts. Hands connect down to the mat. Step your left foot back to meet your right. Lower down. Up dog. Down dog. Find breath here. Fill up. And empty. Fill up. And empty. We'll take that entire series with our breath. Inhale, gaze to your thumbs. Exhale, step, hop, or walk. Top of your mat. Inhale, find your half lift. Exhale, release down to the forward fold. One breath here for chair. Come on up. Yeah. Exhale, down to the forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Hands meet the earth. Step back to plank. Chaturanga. That's the lowering down. Find your way down to the mat. Inhale your heart to lift for up dog or cobra. Tuck your toes, send your hips back. Downward facing dog. We're still moving. Right foot steps. Warrior one. Just one breath this time. Inhale up. Exhale, hands connect down to the earth. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Lower down. Up dog. Down dog. Still moving. This time left side steps. Inhale up for one breath. Exhale down. Step back to plank pose. Chaturanga, lower. Up dog. And down dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. So all of that connected is Sun Salutation B. Let's do it one more time. Gaze to your thumbs, step, hop, or walk. Top of your mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release to the forward fold. Inhale, rise, chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Hands connect to the earth. Step back to plank. Lower down. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Right foot steps. Warrior one. Inhale up. Exhale down. Step back and lower. Inhale your heart up for cobra or up dog. Exhale your hips back. Down dog, still moving. Left side goes, steps. Inhale up. Exhale down. Step back and lower. Up dog. Down dog. Find breath. Two more breaths here. Step with your right foot, warrior one. Inhale up. We're going to come to a nice and easy twist. So what we're going to do is bring your hands down to the mat, straddling your right foot. Turn your left heel up towards the ceiling. Left hand stays down in the earth, or if you have a block, that can help you. Twist open so your right hand comes up. Now, what sometimes happens is that right hip likes to pop out. Pull it back into center and make sure the twist is from your mid-back. Breathe in and twist open. Breathe in, twist open. One more. Come back to center. Let your hands go ahead and frame your right foot, I guess is the best way to put that. We're going to come back up to standing. Inhale all the way up. Breathe in and sink into that knee. Draw your hands down to a T. Turn yourself open to the right side. Allow your hands to find heart center. Hook that left elbow outside your right knee. Now, if that doesn't feel good or if that's too much, then just go back exactly where we were and let your left hand find the earth or a block. Also, the option to bring your left knee down to the earth as well. So you do what serves you today in this moment. Breathe in and twist open. Breathe in and twist open. One more. Turn your gaze back to the top of your mat. Extend your hands out in front of you. Look up. Step forward. Chair pose. Breathe in and sink. Breathe in and sink. And then release. Forward fold. Inhale. Half lift. Hands meet the earth. Step back to plank pose. Lower down. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Breathe here again. One more. Right foot steps. Warrior one. Inhale up. Allow your hands to come down to the earth, framing your left foot. Draw your right heel up to the ceiling so you're on your right toes. Right hand stays connected with the earth or a block if you have one. Twist open to the left. Breathe in length from that right heel through the crown of your head and then twist open. Two more breaths. When you're complete, left hand comes back down to the earth. Inhale, back up to standing. That takes some strength and balance, so take your time. Adjust as needed. Hands come out to a T. Draw your heart over to the left side of your space. Bring your hands to heart center if you'd like. Hook that right elbow outside your left knee and twist open. Remembering the options that we shared before, which is to come back to the twist with your hands down to the earth. Also that option to drop your right knee. Left hip stays in center. If it's jutting out, just gently bring it back. Two more breaths. Turn your gaze to the top of your mat. Reach forward with both hands. Look up. Chair pose. Breathe in and sink. Breathe in and sink. Release to the forward fold. Inhale, find your half lift. Hands connect to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Lower down. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Big breath in. Big breath out. Fill up in through your nose and out through your nose. Let's release some heat here. Fill up through your nose. Open your mouth, audibly sigh it out. Gaze to your thumbs. Big step, tiny steps, or hop. Top of your mat. Inhale, find your half lift. Exhale, soften down through forward fold. Inhale, allow your hands to travel up and overhead and let them meet and find heart center. Option as you gaze down at your fingertips to keep your gaze soft, or if it feels good to you, go ahead and shut your eyes down. And it's here that we find just a moment to settle back in. Check in for our why. What brought us to our mat today? What do we need? In what ways are we seeking to serve ourselves, mind, body, and spirit? And sometimes in the process of our practice, we might lose our way a little bit and forget our why. So a gentle reminder to just come back to it. Allow it to fill you up. Allow it to inform your practice. And then when you're ready, eyes can blink open or gaze can come back into focus. Go ahead and release your hands down by your side, palms forward. Let's do a couple shrugs and rolls because it just feels good. And then once you're set, root down through all four corners of both feet. Zip up everything into an engaged posture. Shift your weight slightly into your left foot. Pop your right heel. So many options. I'll walk you through them. When you found your appropriate level of challenge, that's where you're invited to stop and enjoy the challenge. Right heel pops, kickstand. If you'd like more, draw your right toes up off the earth. Next stop is right knee at the same height as your right hip. Next stop is to bring your hands around and draw your right knee up into your chest. From there, we can keep that right foot flexed, draw it out to the side. Let your right hand come to the front to support it. Left hand extends behind you and look over your left thumb. We'll find 2 more breaths to explore. And when you're complete, bring your right knee back to center and release your right foot down onto the earth. And once again, we find that calm, that acceptance as we resettle in. Everything zips up. We have exactly what we need to be here to take the part of this practice that we need right now. Allow your heel on the left side to pop. Maybe toes off the earth. Maybe hip height. Maybe into your chest. Maybe opening everything out to the side and moving your gaze to the right. Let's find 3 more breaths to play. And when you're complete, head back to center and gently release down to your mat. Shake it off. If that feels good. That's the beauty of yoga, right? Like every pose that we do has a beginning and an end, and then we get to begin again. So new beginnings just right now around the corner. We're going to take our flying postures. So I'm going to turn to face the top of my mat. You're probably already there. Again, connect. Palms face forward, shoulders are up, down, and back. Core is engaged towards your spine. Once again, we've slightly put our weight into our left foot so that we can lift our right knee and come up to hip height if that's available to you. And then immediately send that right leg out behind you into what we call airplane. Gaze is long and down. Right toes are actively turning towards the earth. Shoulder blades are pulling together, lifting your heart. As you're ready, you can release your hands out in front of you to find warrior 3. And then your hands can come to heart center and release them down to the earth for standing splits. Now we'll have all different bodies look very different here, and all that matters is just work to lift your right leg as high as it can comfortably go. And then if you want more of a balance challenge, being careful, you can start to move your hands closer and closer to your foot. And you'll find the closer and closer they get to that left foot, the harder it is to balance, right? So just play. 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, gently put your right foot down next to your left. We'll inhale through our half lift. Exhale and soften down through our forward fold. And once again, inhale, rise, come all the way up to standing. Allow hands to meet, travel through heart center, and release down by your side yet again. And then when we're ready, weight into your right foot, pop your left heel, lift your left knee to hip height, send it out behind you, actively pointing those left toes down. Shoulder blades squeeze together as heart lifts. Shift if you need to. And then as you're ready, release your hands out in front of you, warrior 3. And then draw your hands into heart center and release them down to the earth, lifting your left leg as high as it'll go. And you may notice that one leg goes higher than the other. And that's only just worthy of noticing, just as a point of information. There's no judgment or ego attached to that. It's just noticing your body. Maybe again the option to draw your your hands closer to your right foot. 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, let that left foot return to the mat next to your right foot. Inhale, find your half lift. Exhale, soften down through your forward fold. Inhale, rise, hands travel up and overhead. Once again, they meet at heart center and release down by your side as we get set up for our last balancing pose. So what we're looking for here is, again, to get engaged and powerful. Palms are forward, shoulders up, down, and back, navel into spine, skin to muscle to bone. Everything's engaged. Put weight into your left foot, pop your right heel, open your right knee to the side. This is tree pose. Option to stay here at kickstand. Maybe lift your toes up off the earth onto your ankle, maybe a little higher onto your calf. There's only one rule with tree. We skip that knee joint. And if we'd like, we bring our foot to our inner thigh, but never resting it on that knee joint. You're drawing your right knee open to the back of your mat. And then if you'd like, hands can come up, grow your branches. Another option is to bring hands to heart center or to clasp them behind you in a bind. 2 more breaths, please. And then with much control as is available to you, release. And if you fall out of it, no big deal. Just finding what's accessible to us each time. And then once again, we reconnect, zip back up, feel strong and powerful connected. Left heel pops, open that left knee to the side of your space. Kickstand, ankle, calf, skip the knee, maybe inner thigh. If you'd like to grow your branches, or let your hands find heart center, or allow them to come behind you into a chest opening bind. 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, gently release. Again, we inhale, hands up and overhead. We allow them to meet, come down to heart center. And once again, your gaze follows your fingertips and softens there, or your eyes shut down. And here's where we harness all that kindness, the kindness that we send out into the world every day with those that we work with. But now we turn that kindness inward, allowing yourself to receive that which you so freely offer to others. You deserve it too. Find one more quality breath here. Hands release down by your side, eyes softly blink open. Inhale your hands up and overhead. Exhale, release down to the forward fold. Inhale, find your half lift. Hands connect down to the earth, step back to plank. Lower all the way down to your mat. Inhale up for upward facing dog or cobra. Tuck your toes, hips come back. Downward facing dog. Breathe all the way in. And breathe all the way out. Fill up. And empty. Right foot steps for warrior one. Inhale back up to standing. We're going to shift to warrior two. And so you'll see the back of me. I do this on this side. We're going to move our back foot to parallel with the back edge of our mat, and our front foot's pointing the front edge of our mat. Point your fingers over the front and back edge of your mat and sink into that front knee. Gaze over your front fingertips. This is warrior two. Gently use your hand to draw your right knee open and see if you can stack that right knee over your ankle. Let your hands regain that reaching position. Staying low, reach forward to the front of your space. Reverse and reach up and back. Reverse warrior. And then we'll come forward to side angle. We're going to bring our right elbow just inside or just on top of your right knee. Left hand extends up towards the ceiling. Now, if you're able to bring your right elbow inside your right knee, go ahead and do so, because we have a tendency to want to camp out, on that right knee. So see what you can do here to get more weightless. Breathe in length and twist open. Breathe in length and twist open. Two more. Next inhale brings you back up to standing. Reverse your warrior one more time, and if it feels good, go ahead and straighten that front right leg. Then bend that knee again, sink back down into warrior two. Hands will cartwheel down to the earth on either side of your right foot. Turn your left heel up, step your right foot back to plank. Let's take a flow. Lower down. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. And breath out. One more. Shift forward to plank. Now, your plank pose is the one where you can keep your core engaged. Many of us will come down to our knees and engage our core. Some of us will stay in full plank. You decide what serves you best today. Push the mat away. Pull your navel into your spine. And breathe. We'll stay here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Now leave your elbows tight to your ribs. Keep your core engaged. Slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Arms come out to cactus arms. Rest your right cheek down onto the mat, looking to the left. And here we breathe, filling all the way up and emptying all the way out. And again, fill up and empty. Last one, fullest breath in, fullest breath out. Gently bring your forehead to the center of your mat and let your hands come to the top of your mat. And we're just going to use fingertips so that we're not bearing down through the entirety of our palm, but just letting our fingers assist us. Start by looking out and in front of you, and then lift your legs up off the earth. And then if it's available to you, use the strength in your back and the strength in your arms to let your chest come up off the earth as well. Breathe in and lift. Breathe in and lift. Last one. Gently release, and this time allow your left cheek to come to rest as your gaze comes to the right. Again, arms are cactused. And here we find deep breaths in and out, filling all the way up and emptying completely. Let's take 2 more. Last one. And we come back to center with our forehead again. Option to do like we did last time, or if you'd like to release your hands by your side, palms down, or maybe clasp them behind your lower back, and then lift your chest and your legs. This is locust pose. Breathe in and lift. Breathe in and lift. Last one. Gently release down to your mat. Let your hands assist you in pushing your hips back over your heels, finding child's pose yet again. Reminder that in child's pose, our knees are as wide as it's comfortable, typically to the edges of your mat if that's available to you. Heels or hips sink over heels. Forehead connects with the earth, hands extend. Breathe all the way in and breathe all the way out. 2 more just like that. If it feels good, turn your gaze to the left and then to the right, rolling out your forehead on the mat. I don't know when you're watching this video, but when I'm taping it, we're full on in spring and pollen season. And it's so nice to see the growth of the new season. But man, those allergies can be challenging, huh? Walk your hands back towards your knees. The strength in your arms lifts your chest up off your thighs. Come back to seated over your thighs. Come off to one side or the other, supporting yourself with your hands, and let your legs swing around. If you're towards the edge of the back of your mat, go ahead and scoot yourself forward so you're more centered. Then grab onto the back of your thighs, gently come down onto your back. We're going to move our heels as close to our glutes as available to us. Our feet are hip width apart. Our knees and everything are in alignment. Everything's pointing straight forward. Using your heels more than your toes, push down through your feet and lift your hips up. The back of your head stays connected with the earth, shoulders stay connected with the earth, and we're using the fronts of our legs to lift our hips. This is bridge pose. 2 more breaths here. And then when you're complete, 1 vertebra at a time, take your time, slowly lower back down to the earth. We're going to keep our knees just as bent as they are, but we're going to walk our feet to the edge of our mats and allow your knees to fall in towards one another, fallen bridge. One more breath. When you're complete, gently walk your feet back into hip width. Make sure your toes are pointed directly forward. Push down and lift up. And if it's available to you or feels comfortable, see if you can clasp your hands underneath you. And maybe even start to walk your shoulder blades a little bit under your heart space. Again, instead of using your glutes to push, we're more working on using the fronts of our legs to lift. Chest comes towards your chin. 2 more breaths. Gently release all the way down. 1 more time, we'll take fallen bridge. Walk your feet wide, knees fall narrow. Last breath here. Walk your feet back, last time to hip width center. Draw your heels. See if there's a space to even bring your heels closer to your glutes, perhaps. Push down and lift up. Take whatever feels comfortable here. We'll be here for 3 breaths. And then this time, lower slowly to the mat. Bring your feet sole to sole and let your knees fall open in a reclined butterfly position. In Sanskrit, this is Supta Baddha Konasana. And allow your right hand to find your heart and your left hand to find your abdomen and you to find deep breath. Two more. Gently draw your knees back to center, planting your feet on the earth. We're going to grab onto the backs of our thighs, lift your feet up off the earth so that you can rock and roll. And when you've got enough momentum, come up all the way to balancing on your tailbone. Now, lots of options here. You can use your toes to support you. You can release your hands to support you. You can use both. Or you can grab onto the backs of your knees, or you can release your hands. The key here is we want to lift through our heart. We're going to take toe taps alternating. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your left foot down to the earth. Let your hands come to rest by your hips and cross your right ankle over your left knee. Now, if that's too intense, draw your left foot away from your body. We're all going to actively flex through our right foot. And instead of drawing your right knee close to you, allow your right knee to fall open away from you. And then there's lots of places to adjust intensity here. One is with that left foot, how close it comes to your body. And one is your arms, if you allow yourself to fall a little bit away, or if you lift yourself up close too. Find the intensity where you're feeling that on the outside of your right hip. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears if they've crunched up by it. If it feels good, you can lower your gaze. And here we breathe. Three more quality breaths. And then when you're complete, gently uncross your right ankle from your left knee and we'll switch sides. So you may want to release out a little bit to give yourself some space. Cross your left ankle over your right knee. Actively flex through your left foot. Actively draw your left knee away from you. And then draw your right heel as close to your body as serves you. And then let your hands come as close to your hips as serves you. And again, we look to draw our shoulders away from our ears just as a mechanism for finding softness and releasing tension. And we just breathe. Option to soften your gaze or shut your eyes again. Two more quality breaths. And when you're complete, uncross your left ankle from your right knee. We'll come back to boat pose. Support yourself behind your knees. Lift your feet up if that serves you. Maybe let your hands come out. We'll come halfway down to canoe. Inhale back up to boat. Right? Or just hold boat. One more time, canoe. Back up to boat. And then wherever you are, slowly, carefully, gently find your way down onto your back. We'll take an inversion here. Option to bring your feet straight up towards the ceiling. If you have a yoga block at home, you can place it underneath your sacrum, or if you'd like to take shoulder stand. Find two more breaths here. And then bend your knees so that they fall wide by your ribs, and you press your heels and the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. Grab on behind your knees, maybe your ankles or the insides of your feet, and then gently rock from side to side. And then drop your feet back into center. Bring your knees into your chest. Curl up into the tiniest possible ball that you can. Knees come up to your nose. Breathe all the way in. And as you exhale, release all the way down onto your mat for our most important pose, Shavasana. Let your legs go nice and wide. Take up space and let your feet fall open like the pages of a book. Palms are by your side, face up to receive. If it feels good, nestle your shoulder blades slightly underneath your heart space. Open and close your jaw. Take the pressure off your back teeth. Let your gaze soften or your eyes shut down. And we'll find a few moments of stillness and breath and the option to simply just be present and be. Invite movement back into your body by wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes. If it feels good, extend your arms out behind you into a full body stretch and maybe rotate your wrists and rotate your ankles. And then honoring the stillness that we've created, move slowly and gently. Bring your knees into your chest and then roll onto your right side. Your right bicep will cradle your head. And it's here that we find gratitude for whatever brought us to this practice, to our mats, to the choice to serve ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. And then as you're ready, the strength in your arms assists you in coming up to seated. Go ahead and leave your eyes shut down if you don't mind. You can sit in an easy pose with your legs crossed in front of you. Let's inhale, hands up and overhead, and allow them to connect and find heart center. It's said that yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. My gratitude to all of you that are joining me here today on your mat in this practice. Thank you for showing up and sharing breath. Allow your thumbs to travel to your forehead and your fingers to spread wide. The word namaste means that the light, the love, and the joy in me recognizes, honors, and celebrates the light, the love, and the joy in you. And so I bow to you and say, namaste. Thank you so much for showing up, for taking care of yourself, for sharing the gift of yoga, because when you take yoga into yourself, it automatically will come out to those that you love. Hope to see you on your mat again soon. Have a great day.